evening. Hi, class ain't started yet though. Being out in the evening, I had to get over timidness of it, because I hadn't done it for so long.
So how do you feel now?
I'm comfortable now because it's daylight saving time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it makes a big difference,
Yeah.
but I was very timid because I hadn't done it for ages, because I used to teach for them years ago.
Oh,
Quite a, you remember that? I had you before,
yes, you mean,
supervision advisory,
yeah.
I didn't understand, oh, there was a being familiar, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the rules since then.
Yeah, but it's different.
Yeah, it's different, but
And then this one here is more, because this is your name.
yeah,
On
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my profession. But
Yeah.
yeah, I used to do this for them, and there was another one, and some of the day ones in court. And I tell them, Lord, but I was waking, and that's the thing about it,
I used to come here and still do that.
and still do it, but I was younger. When you.
Yeah, you have all
you
that
have
energy.
energy. But as you get older, this go.
That is
energy.
going on. I feel like now when I need
I-
to reach my 40s, yeah.
Really? They say normal and regular. That's what they say. Normal and regular.
Yeah. The time just goes, but May, I can say April just been.
Just like that.
Honestly.
Just so many activities, and
Like
now
a
we
blur.
are May. When you see June, and May, look at all these activities.
But even
going
for
on.
the 50th,
Yeah,
it's really
yeah,
getting
the
good.
anniversary.
And then school closes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I be the one saying that?
You definitely, you definitely should.
Parents,
You
yeah,
definitely should, but
parents.
That's right.
Parents, yeah. Yeah, and I had to drop my daughter who worked, she's in the industrial park yesterday. But I had to take her to Nassau Motors, drop her car and then go there. She's the
The drafts.
But I wasn't in, so she calls me. Everyone's up. You're gonna have to come for me to go get my car. Oh, so I left home, wanted to go. Jesus.
Oh, you want
That
that traffic.
Jesus. I live in Seabreeze, and I'm not exaggerating one bit. I drove out there to industrial park. I got her there just before 5.
Uh-huh.
Or the 4, I was making that in out. Then they had an accident by fusion, so
Oh,
that had
okay.
everything backed up.
Oh, my God.
So I said, when they're coming back, I'm not coming, that would have been the quickest way to get back to Nassau.
Yeah.
If I flew go based. When you hit around that Fort Charlotte area. for
Oh,
Fort
yes.
Charlotte,
Oh, yeah. They said you
Yeah.
want. I said, put your gun back.
Yeah.
You were. Right.
We got home, we got to Nassau, we
Right.
closed about 25 after 5, they closed 5:30. And I got, and then when we left here to go East Bay Street, I had forgotten all about this East Bay Street.
Oh, that traffic is big too.
Yeah.
No, the bridge and all that
Traffic.
company. I got on 6 o'clock, so I said, gee, Lord, that's 2 hours on the
Was
road.
that right?
And if I was tired.
Just
I-
getting.
Good afternoon.
Hi, we'll start in a minute. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Miss Bethel?
Wonderful, Denise. We're
That's
good.
good.
We're gonna start in a minute and.
Okay,
Okay. But
all right, thank you.
The East, I live on East.
That's
I
why I
go
seen in the
down
morning,
to
when I leave out 7:15, I don't reach to work till
9 to quarter to 9, right?
exactly.
So you're.
I feel so exhausted.
I don't know what we're gonna do. I said, Lord, so I think the parents drop off, pick up.
Yeah.
That's why. I
Then they
can't
gotta
wait till
rush back
school
to the
close.
office, you know what I
Right.
mean, for that last hour. All you can do is sit and catch yourself. They-
I know my car's cry.
Mhm.
I said 2 hours, I said,
2
Tony, you know,
hours.
if I was in the state, and I'm not, God knows I left home quarter to 4. I didn't have to wait for nothing, it's 2 hours, you know, I said, we could have been in another state in the
Yeah.
US in 2 hours.
That's true.
I
Right,
said,
put up on the
what are we
traffic.
gonna do?
And it's serious, you know, they don't realize that's a big issue, and that's
Yeah.
all around, because when you look at parents, mothers, I would say
Working.
mothers, working mothers who have to leave to pick up
Yeah.
their children and come back to the job, you have an hour for lunch.
Mhm.
If
That's it.
the employee is not lenient to say, okay, I know you're doing, pick up. that go against you, because ain't no way,
Uh-huh.
depending on where you go in, an hour would
It's
ever cut it.
no, it doesn't work. I said, oh my God.
Some jobs don't even allow for that.
They don't have flexible
You
time.
gotta wait till you get off.
Because a lot of
clock.
parents would be willing to work, or people, they
Yes,
they would do the extra to make up.
Yeah.
but they don't.
They don't allow it.
Yeah.
Some
I know the
employers so
bank,
selfish.
at Central Bank, we had, they still have it when I was there. We had, the after school care. So when.
I think that really should be
In the-
implemented, looking
in
at the demographic.
Mm.
It should be implemented. You
Yeah,
have to
and
look at the
every organization
demographic.
could afford it, we hired a child after school care person and all that type of thing. And they did games, they did homework games, we gave them snacks and everything, it was like another benefit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
they're right in
that's
the
a good
greenhouse
thing.
in that area, it was nice, and then but now finding after school kids, reliable people.
Yeah.
It took a little while, and someone who was honest, who could trust the
Which
children.
one was like.
Yeah.
That took a little process.
Yeah, because you know,
to
that
get,
gotta
you
be
know.
something, that gotta be something you love, because
Yeah.
dealing with people, children sometimes can be that can be
Yeah.
frustrating too.
So I don't know, I say my Bahamas, who need to go. But all these people who come from the Mother Island need to go back.
Yeah, they need to go.
So we need to stimulate the other islands, we need
Yeah.
to get them moving so people can move.
Yeah.
I thought that was the government's plan.
No, we celebrating 50
Only,
years.
only Exuma saying to be, doing anything, Exuma they use rough.
I hear Abaco booming again.
Abaco?
And
Yeah,
we
they
know
got
Abaco
same
go boom,
promotion.
this is a different type of boom, we don't know Abaco.
Yeah,
They self-sustaining, we ain't really get so worried.
Denise. You good?
Yes, ma'am, I'm good. Yes, ma'am.
Our condolences, Denise lost her.
Thank
father,
you.
she said, so I extended.
Thank
You
you.
mind me sharing that, Denise?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so the life has some unexpected blows and unexpected
Yeah.
things in life. So we pray that God strengthen you and your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you
You
so
feel
much.
like family to us,
Yeah.
so we,
Yes,
yeah, you're family to us, so,
you guys are my family as well, man. Thank you all so much. I greatly appreciate it.
okay. Well, I have explained to him, we're not gonna be very long this evening. We only have about half of the class here this evening for whatever different reasons. A lot of things probably happening. You would make the sixth person is Bodie, and Exuma, you're on, Bodie?
I'm here.
Good evening. Good evening. Who is that?
The host.
Bodie.
Oh, this Bodie, Denise, and who else is on here?
The hostess.
And who is the hostess of the mostess? Kendra,
Yes, ma'am. Did you get my homework?
I believe so. Oh, Kendra, you mean from last week?
Yes, the week 5, page 9.
Yeah.
I think yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send you all your emails, the comments. Okay, but we discussed that at the beginning of the last class. Okay, so that's 3 persons, so it'll be 5, 6, 7. You know, in sport, if you don't have a quorum, you cancel everything, right? But we're not gonna do that. Oh, boy. Well, good evening. I mean, I can't do the activity I had intended to do this evening, but it's all good. It's all good. Let me begin the class by mentioning the exam. Exam is going to be here next week, face to face. It's 2 hours. Yeah, mostly you'll probably be finishing within an hour and a half. You will have two questions. You will only complete one. You choose, the essay will be a choice of one from 2 questions I will provide. So only one of them you have to complete. And then the other will be short answers, 5 short answers, okay? Hi, Molly, good evening, afternoon. It's after 6 this evening, yeah. So you'll have the 5 short answers as well. So that will comprise the exam. And that will be it. So I don't want nobody stressing about nothing. No stress, no stress, no stress. And it's
That's
just the
good.
work we've covered.
That's the essay, not the essay, the short question stuff, like, do we have to answer like with one answer?
No, that's why I call them short
I know, but.
answers. Yeah,
No,
I don't want, I could
it's-
take points off because I don't want to be reading all that stuff.
We
Well, you know,
don't have to let in our answers.
Huh? Pardon me? What's that?
So they like literal short answers.
Yeah, well,
We're not
see,
gonna run
the paragraph type, you know, what we did, similar to
Okay.
what we did before. It's very difficult to evaluate. That's why we had the activities to evaluate HR. And if you grasp the concepts, the main thing I want to, this has been 8 weeks, okay? It seems like it was just yesterday. It's going very quickly. But I want you leaving here having some basic understanding and concepts about human resources and having an understanding of what you can apply and put into practice, okay? And if openings become open in your organization and it opens up a door for you to be promoted in HR, you can be considered because you're comfortable with what you should do or should be doing in HR. And some of you are eventually will lead HR. Once you have this foundation, these foundational concepts down, then you will be able to lead because you can go and do further research. Licia, I have your paper as well, but one of the things, I even see it in the class when we have an activity, some of you go and Google, okay? Google has all the answers, all right? I see the search, the search, you put a search engine and that search engine start going, but basically they don't have all the answers. They have answers because all the time they're not necessarily right. But as practitioners and culture, our culture dictates a lot. And just how you went and looked up the law, okay, you're doing labor, you have labor relations and you're dealing with issues pertaining to the law. You really have to see what the law says. And that provides boundaries and it also helps you to make the right decision based on the law, based on policies and procedures. And remember, I've been talking quite a bit about this, your vision, your mission, your core values. Your core values formulate your policies and procedures. Your policies and procedures are guided by the law, the rules and regulation. You had a classic case this week in the newspaper. I know young people don't read the paper. I know. Y'all look, I try to get it, you do it Monday and Thursday at least. But I'm just using, if you look at the paper yesterday and you see Bethel, Mrs. Bethel, she used to be one of the directors, a past director of National Insurance Board. Anybody read that? Okay. Have you read a piece of it? She's a very wealthy woman. And she's gonna get more money. Very, very wealthy. There was a situation, I could talk about it now. I wasn't there when this happened on 2018, but anyhow, it was still hanging there. You still had to go to court, represent, But it was in the paper and I read the story and I got a better understanding. It was dealing with pension. When she, and this is to help you, I'm trying to show you all how the law governs a lot of your decision-making in HR. When she was hired as on a 3-year contract to be the director, one of the things that she negotiated with the Prime Minister and the chairman of the board is that she would be a part of the pension fund of NIB. And they said, of course, that's no problem, because she said because of her medical condition and all of this is in the paper, that she wanted to ensure, because she had a medical condition that was deteriorating, some medical deteriorate over years. She wanted to ensure that she would be able to take care of herself because she's an astute lawyer. Okay. She would have been able to take care of herself. And they said, yes, it definitely be included. And of course, with a contract signed and I remember how we make up the contracts. It's still you'll be engaged in the NIB's pension fund. Signed up paper, they came back when she left, she 3 years, she did not renew her contract because there were differences, she says, between her and board members and NIB executives. There were, this happens. And so she didn't renew her contract. And so she expected then to be, you paid out certain amount from your pension fund when you're living in Spain.
Or
But-
should have received that visit from
Right,
the
but she didn't.
automatically.
Yeah, but she didn't. Why he didn't? They discovered that the pension fund does not cover contractual workers.
Oh.
And so whoever, and I know who it is, who, releases they approve, there's a committee that approves that release, They couldn't approve it because right, but they were deducting because from her salary
Oh,
for her pension, you see, and it was going, because her contract says that she would be in the pension fund.
Okay.
So there was an error. So this is you got to be so careful of.
Dot your i's and
cross the t's.
Dot your i's, cross your t's, and reference your articles, reference and things like this pension fund, what it says. Because I couldn't be part of the pension fund when I was there because I was a contractual worker. All right.
And the pension fund stipulates
Right,
that.
so and it stipulates that.
Okay.
All right, so they weren't wrong. So nothing was never deducted from me towards a pension because all right, but this happened before I was there, that's what I'm saying, but during that time, prior to that, see, they had learned.
Right.
They didn't know and they were deducting, but I think it was 700 and something they say in the paper. Per week, so you know what the salary was like, okay? So they acknowledged, and this case was going on from 2013, I think they said. They acknowledged that the administrative part of the board had erred. And, but it was an error, they wanted the mistake to be considered for them not to pay out. But what's her name? The Justice, oh God, Diane, what's Diane Sands? She's in a Sands now though, but that's who she ruled in favor of her, that she would get that and they would have to find the money to pay out. So look here, boy, look here, this was going on. Oh, yes. But it's a lesson, rules, regulations, laws. Make sure that you dot and lines up, you do your research. Okay, and so really, the administrator of the pension fund in the board was not wrong. The administrator of the pension fund was adhering to what the pension fund states. So they weren't wrong. The error really came between the point who appointed her, making a promise to not understanding. And then the HR manager did not probably bring that to light because they were being directed.
That's the top of the head.
They were being directed to do so. So they can't go against what they're directed from the most senior person in the country. So as future HR professionals, that's a classic case. Get the paper and read up on it. That's something that would help you. You have a reference as a scenario that teaches everyone a lesson. And it don't have to be the pension, it can be with other things as well. It teaches us all a lesson. So I say that to say this, you gotta read, you gotta consult. You don't make independent decisions, okay, at that senior level like that. And everyone has someone they have to answer to. Don't make independent, be careful, consult. Okay, there's those small little trivial things that when I say trivial, smaller things, you can handle that. When you come to those major decisions, make sure your CEO is involved and aware. Make sure he or she understands what is happening, because they then have to go and consult. And what's her name? Was in Glendon is in here tonight, but she works for an international company, okay, who seems to be a rogue.
type of. Shady, I can say that tonight, right? Situation of how they govern, because what happens in other countries does not necessarily fit in ours, and she's trying to bring some sense to that. But you have to consult so that whoever you're answering to is aware. You never do things independently like that. So that's state, to give you some idea of what our exam is gonna be like. And I know we all run at the end of here quickly. So I want to say this has been a wonderful class. I have learned a lot from you all. You have been a very engaging class, very opinionated. Denise? Bodie? Anyhow, and take them in here for me to tie up one more time. Anybody heard from her? She coming? You don't know. Okay. I don't know.
Yes, very, very opinionated class.
But it's been fun, and I look forward to doing it again. Not with you all necessarily.
I'm just gonna up one more level.
That's what you meant to go for your degree, to start your degree. But you all read. One of the things I want to encourage you to get some HR manuals books and read. Google, you can get them electronic as well. And read on and keep abreast of trends that are happening internationally. If you are able to, when they put out the ads about the shrimp, Bahamas shrimp, bee shrimp activities, participate in them. Go and learn so you're able to network with other professionals. So you have someone always to reference or, to share something with. Do not be a man unto yourself. All right?
It's really beneficial, sorry,
Mhm.
being a part of HR.
Yeah.
I like being a part of it. Yeah. I even pay for fees myself.
Yes,
My
oh,
work
well,
on
to make that
support it.
investment.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You said that's.
Bee shrimp, Bahamas
Yeah.
Human Resource Association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very beneficial.
Same question.
Oh, yeah. Who are they? It's the Bahamas Human Resources
Yeah.
Association. I'm one of the founding members of that. It's grown. We've been around nearly 25, I think, years now. And it's grown. I'm not a part of it now, lively, but I do support the activities. But it's a great networking association
Yeah,
with other HR professionals. And, a lot of you have learned how diverse HR is. Some of you didn't understand the gamut and the specialty areas that have now evolved. Although most of you still want to be a generalist. No, yeah, with it, Molly.
No, because I agree, because we just did a restructuring, and I noticed with our department, they've added on a few more layers.
Oh,
We've been moved into ops, but now they're trying to separate comp and everything,
wow,
yeah, as
Wow.
opposed to we've been-
in
I
just
don't-
one.
I don't mind that,
Uh-huh.
because for me, I'm more interested in the data analytics part.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what I'm more interested in.
okay,
We was talking to our chairman, what he wants for us to do now going forward, but not everyone, but a couple of us. Because he wants to mark the personality types
Mhm.
of the entire organization, because what he wants to do is to try to see which personality types work best, so he can manage the workflow and the workforce a bit better.
Wow,
Yeah, and that's something I'm interested a lot in, just to,
yeah.
because I hate the administrative. God, I hate the administrative.
As a mayor, we're not surprised. As a mayor, yeah, the data, whatever you call it, is interesting because you can make decisions. One of my daughters actually, she does a lot of analytics for her organization and in marketing. And yeah, marketing PR, she is that chief coordinator for that, and that's how they make their decisions based on the data that's
Sounds
gathered.
interesting.
Very interesting, yeah, because what you think is not necessarily what it is. Yeah, yeah. So it's an exciting area, an emerging area in HR as well. Very good.
Always get to go.
Yeah, always in the go. Okay, what I wanted us I have noted here, we're gonna go, but I was hoping the whole group is here, but I'll find a way to change this. We're gonna revise, but I don't want you to go to that yet. On page 1, go back to the roles, the different administrative, strategic, and operational roles of HR. And question and answer, discussion between each other, but I want us to look at 1 or 2 things as it relates here to how to boost morale in your office and workplace. Now, I didn't, McGill is in here. So let me see if I'm gonna give this out. Let me see if they can scan this and send this up to you. I'm not sure they can. Okay, Bodie and Denise. I'll just go and see if they can do that for you. Then let me just. Just pass them out. Be right back. Just read through that quickly for me, please. Be right back.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Is Bethel stepped out?
What she wants us to do?
She's gonna see if they can scan it and send it to you. Yes,
No, I mean, she wanted us to read something? Oh, y'all have it. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Bullitt is going to scan it and email it to you all because McGill is not here this evening. It's on how to boost morale in your office and workplace.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll go over it. And then there's some additional stuff to add to this as well. Can you see me? I don't want to go under. You can see me, right? Not really.
No, but we can hear you good.
We can hear you, yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, what I wanted us to end this end with is looking at how we can motivate, inspire our class, our employees. These are just some recommendations, and for the benefit of those who are online, let me just read through them. It says boosting employees, and she's emailing it to you, okay? Boosting employee morale in the workplace is one of the most important things you can do as a supervisor. Okay, and if you're not paying attention to the morale of your employees, you can be sure that you will begin to see a drop in productivity as well as a lack of loyalty. The keys to raising the morale of your office or workplace begins with you simply paying attention. However, there are a number of things that you can do as a supervisor. And it says implement these suggestions in your regular dealings with your employees and watch the dynamic change. I came across this as something I used before, but I thought it would maybe helpful for you to do. One of the things it's suggesting here is to make the day off the day off. And I looked at that and I said, boy, we just complete the pandemic. We didn't even have no day off. And we're still trying to catch up. But some of you could relate to this. You have a day off and people still calling.
Yes.
Lord,
Yes.
says nothing will lower morale in a workplace faster than to be bothered by work on your day off. And when an employee is away for scheduled time off, they should be left alone at all costs. Occasionally, there may be a need to contact them or call them in, but it should be the exception rather than the rule. Repeated calls at home on your day off will destroy morale over time and usually leads to the employee looking for work elsewhere. So that's one of the things, we boosted morale, okay? Not saying that if you have an emergency or unexpected demand shows up, that you can't call people. That incident, I would love to hear it in Houston, and an incident that's happened in Eleuthera last evening between up in South Eleuthera. You all have some real HR situations you could look at. They were contractors. There was two Venezuelan attacked a Bahamian worker. That's what it's all about. But the thing about they went to his room. So something must have happened on the site. And they had an airlift. The airlift is a big to do. I guess the news will give you more details. And they had the airlift workers, some workers, because of what took place to Nassau. So you think now, with that having happened and Disney has a deadline, those persons are going to be either probably charged with attempted manslaughter or attempted murder, and they're going to be probably eventually go back home, whatever the case may be. So they're going to call in people to work, to continue to meet those deadlines. And Disney, the deadlines are so structured, okay? When I say structured, right. If the comply, they're going to have to call people who probably are on vacation to come back in, to come into work from another country, maybe another place. So I'm not saying that you be so structured and not flexible, but in the normal situation, if it's a staff day off, Jesus, give them the day off. Okay, let them be able to have a little bit of breakfast or go to breakfast or go buy one tongue salad or sit up with their spouse or, or whoever. And my God, let them wash their clothes. Or go get their nails done. But basically what we're saying, if it's the day off, give them the day off. Give them that time off. So avoid being interrupting that as much as possible. But there will be emergencies. You have to have some degree of flexibility. Then it says, do not compare. I thought this one was interesting. Do not compare Jack to Jane. When assigning a task, and this is interesting, listen to it carefully. When assigning a task to someone, do not monitor their progress based on the speed of others. Just because Jean can do the project in 10 minutes, that does not mean that Jack can do it that fast as well. You as a supervisor, an HR manager, would assign tasks with that in mind. You should assign tasks with that in mind. If you need it done in 10 minutes, you should have gotten Jane to do it. She could do it in 10 minutes, get her to do it. Comparisons are very demeaning to an employee, and it is unacceptable.
Yes.
Just
I
like your
experienced that
children.
before. Yes. And it made me feel really, really, really bad. And the names was called
Wow.
of who I was compared to.
Wow.
And I
To this day, leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, right?
yes.
Yeah, it's just like children. Some parents, unfortunately, compare. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not nice. It's unacceptable. Make sure that every member, says here, of your team is working towards something in the large scheme of things. Every employee on your team should have something in the way of a goal. That's why the performance appraisals, annual, reviewing them and setting new goals is very important. What is the next level I am working on? What next step am I looking to take? If you want to be a fantastic supervisor, you should sit down with every employee and ask these questions. Make sure everyone is striving towards something and not just punching the clock. This will help everyone gain incentives to perform and give them a boost of morale as well. So you have to help and sit with your employees and set goals. when people, and I can tell you personally, if I don't have no goals, I get for a particular day or week, I get very bored. I mean, and you know, I'm not in a full-time job now, but I get very, very bored. I have to have goals. And most people are like that, as simple as they may be. You need to ensure that goals are set. This helps to boost the morale and the excitement of wanting to be there, or wanting to be a part of the team. Extend common courtesy. If you demand and do not ask for something, you will get rotten eggs for performance. Nothing, in other words. Nothing kills morale more than for you to be rude and ungrateful for your team's efforts. Learn some manners and use the magic words. Thank you, appreciate you. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. It will pay off in the long run and morale will go through the roof. People want to perform for those people that treat them with respect. Remember, this came up in our leadership section when we talked about mutual respect and respecting people. Regardless of what role you're playing or how high on the echelon you are, you want to make sure that there's mutual respect. Practice what you preach. If employees see you running around the office, dating your secretary while you are spouting off to them about not dating fellow employees, you're simply asking for it. Be the example of what you want from them. You all know them, the relationship and things get hot. Sometime eventually one person has to leave the organization. Okay, I'm gonna say, yeah. The hotel hot for that. Yeah, it's true, right?
It's very true.
Very true.
Very true.
So you can't tell them, you know, you gotta do it and you're doing it.
Ain't going it out.
Okay, practice what you preach. Praise your employees often. If you take time to thank your employees and tell them what they did well, they are much more inclined to listen when it comes time to work on improving. When you praise them, be sure to remind them why you are thankful. They will love it and appreciate your efforts. It says at the bottom, these are some ideas on how to boost morale in your workplace, but certainly there are many more out there. Boosting morale is not difficult if you are paying attention to how you would like to be treated. Chances are, if you would not like a particular rule heaped on your back, then your employees would not either. Follow your moral compass and these quick, easy rules, and you will be on your way to a higher morale in your workplace. Anybody have any questions on that? Comments? If not, let's continue. I have some suggestions, which I have used, which you may want to consider, and I was thinking through them. And I noted them, and you're going to have to take some notes because you may just have a question on your exam. How do you boost morale in the workplace? Just mine. Rewards and recognition recommendations. And I'm going to have you add to some of these in a few minutes. So you can think of them. One, I suggest, and take notes on these. I don't have a handout on these. I'm suggesting you create a wall of fame. Create a wall of fame. Another one, UB now has a Hall of Fame, but it's the same concept. You put people pictures up, you talk about them, you have short stories on them. Yeah, and it does something for the individual. Now you're gonna have to work out the criteria, okay, for how you're gonna select that employee. Let's see if I can find it. You may have to do some type of criteria of how you would want that to happen. It may be something you do at the end of each year, maybe something you do every 3 years or 2 years. You're creating this hall where people, pictures, and stories are placed there. You can invite people to come and view it. And then in addition to that, you could reward them with some gift, maybe a cruise or something. Okay, But that's just a suggestion. Another one I have noted, which I have used, you can make a difference award. That's another, I called it that. You could change the name, tweak it. You can make a difference award. And the purpose of this award is to provide, I call, spontaneous recognition of staff to honor employees who meet over and beyond the job expectation or job requirements. And what you do with this, you sort of provide immediate recognition. It isn't something you have to wait till the end of the month or the end of the quarter. You could do that every week with your employees. You could do that monthly with your staff in your department. And there's small things that you can do to reward them. Buy them lunch, give them tickets for theater, probably Starbucks, gift certificates. I don't know how extensive your organization is, maybe a trip or Hingy down to one of the family islands. But it's a what we recognized. You just walk around, surprising one day, and we recognized Janine for being an outstanding employee. You've done so much, you've gone over and beyond. And we want to I just acknowledge this. And I want to acknowledge you as being the person who made a difference. And we're giving you this Make a Difference award for this month or for this week. Imagine you doing that weekly. Imagine doing it monthly. The excitement it brings. There you go. Let me tell you, you have some breakfast now. All right. The word says that the poor will always be amongst us. Okay. Always remember that. All right. So you would have to work out your criteria, how you're going to do it, and be consistent with it. Another one I have, Leadership Recognition Award. Leadership Recognition Award. Now, the purpose for this is to recognize formal and informal leaders in the organization. Remember, we talked about, you may be the manager, you may have emerged as the lead, who they see as the leader, but the real leader, put it down. The real person who has influence ain't necessarily you. So one of the things as HR managers, you have to help people recognize leaders in the organization, and you recognize them that they have applied what you may call leadership attributes. For example, give me an attribute we talked about what leaders have. What do leaders do? They bring about positive change in an organization. What would that person would have done to bring about positive change in the department? They may have done something totally unusual and different. And you want to recognize that. Just the entire positive attitude, okay, towards work. I wouldn't, I'm very careful how I recognize people who are always on time. They can be always on time because they're the first one to get dropped off.
Yeah.
All right. And the reverse. But so you got to be careful of that type of thing. You understand that may not be totally against their will. It's just happened, the situation they're in. But attributes that leaders do, they lead by example. They don't lead, remember, they don't lead things as they met it. Okay, they're always bringing about positive change and positive improvement to any environment that they go into. They are very optimistic. Okay, they're very engaging. Remember all those leadership traits and attributes that we talked about? Think about those. So you could have a leadership recognition award. You may also wish to have a peer, I call a peer recognition award, where your peers recognize the individual, the person. They elect, they nominate, they select. And this is to engage, the purpose of this is to engage staff and recognizing peak performance in the department or in the organization. You also want to have fun whilst you're working. If your peers select the person, the person, you know, they have fun. They make jokes about things that they may have done or may not have done. But they recognize their standing contribution their pair would have brought to the department or to the organization. And it also helps to staff to recognize the value and that they appreciate each other, that you're not taking each other for granted. So I call that one the Pair Recognition Award. And then you have one that I also call a Team Player Award. And this is to encourage the team and to strengthen the team and bring camaraderie to the organization. You know, in a lot of organizations or companies, there's always a project to be done. And to have that project completed, you have to work together as a team. It's something that they cannot do on their own. I know in banks, for example, you set these high goals. But Lord, you know that one area, one department can't do it. Okay, one person can't do it. We need to pool our resources together to accomplish and to achieve this. And so you could recognize individuals periodically by awarding them what you call the Team Player Award. So that's about 5 I know I've used and they've been very successful over the past. A wall of Fame, Make a Difference Award, Leadership Recognition Award, Peer Recognition Award, and Team Player Award. Now, this is not limited to just these. Let's see, what other awards can you think you can do in your organization? Any other suggestion? Remember, we're boosting morale and we are recognizing and awarding the employees. I know, but now you have the employee of the month, employee of the quarter, employee of the year. You know, you have all of those. What other things, anything, other interesting things being done? Let's hear from our online persons. Kendra, Denise, Bodie. Anything you all are doing in your organizations? Hi.
Nothing that I'm doing right now.
Okay, Bodie, you're not doing anything. Okay.
Right.
Denise,
Hi.
Kendra?
I'm trying to get this phone. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Denise, Denise.
Sorry, repeat that, Miss Bodie. I mean, Miss Bethel. Jesus.
No, we good. We know now. I don't want you stressing yourself. You relax now, okay? You relax yourself. But one of the things we're just asking, what types of awards or recognition programs, other than what I have mentioned already this evening, are you doing in your organization, and anything that's listening to relative to boosting the morale?
Well, I mean, separate and apart from the norms, which you would have mentioned, something else we do, we recognize staff members who go in the community. We have this annual recognition. I forgot the actual terminology, but what it is in a nutshell is they do they go in the community, they do community service. So the person who would have done most community service or the most impactful community service gets an overall award as well. And besides just the regular highlights and achievements, we also do managing directors awards and VPs and president awards, where the person who would have done well in different, I want to say professional, what word I want to use? Because it's not departments, like in different arms of the bank, like for instance,
units?
Yeah, different units. That's a good word. Who would have done best in the different units being recognized by their peers and manager? They too then get these really, really high achieved awards that's up for grabs around the whole entire network. So it's not only here in the Bahamas, but you also go against your colleagues that are abroad in Canada, New York, Turks and Cayman, all those other places. And so that's something too, a lot of colleagues push to try to achieve, they try to accomplish, because that's like the la creme of la creme. And then separate and apart from that, something else we do accruals. And so you have a number of colleagues, again, who would have done well in the different units. The bank actually pays for Carnival cruise, and it's only RBC employees. Nobody else is on this cruise. That happens once a year. So Carnival is totally booked out for just the RBC employees for 7 days. And so we do things like that too, to continue to boost employee morale and to give award and recognition to those who are deserving of it. So those are the things RBC does as well.
Excellent, very good. Thank you, thank you. You got some additional ones. Kendra, you have any? Thank you, Denise.
Sure, you're welcome.
No, mom.
Okay, no, ma'am. What you eating? Kendra, that's our joke. Okay, anyone else in the class have anything you do different?
I don't think there's an annual staff appreciation day, like a fun day for all this.
That definitely can boost morale.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's really, and quarter birthdays.
okay.
And on the birthday of the employee, we give them a gift certificate, not a gift certificate, but just a certificate for lunch. Like
Okay,
a $10 lunch certificate for them to get lunch.
all right, they gotta up that now, because I'll be getting lunch under $25.
I know some people already told me we need to. up that,
Yeah,
but-
I could only buy a Starbucks regular coffee.
But Bobby never used to do nothing.
That's something, hey, you're doing something, but make sure for your budget for next year, you gotta up it up a little bit. Yeah, definitely to get a lunch.
That's all we do.
Anyone else?
Like if you said, and then obviously we also do employee appreciation, like she was saying, we do it every year.
Every year, the employee appreciation.
Staff.
It was staff appreciation, we have a week of activities.
Oh.
Employees, they treated each branch, and you have a budget, and so that each branch will decide what they're gonna do, and how
Oh,
they would treat the staff, and so
Uh-huh.
sometimes management will end doing things for the staff. And then, or you can go out, or most of the stuff is in branch, and every day you have an activity.
okay, wow.
What kind of activity?
Thanks. Okay, one may have breakfast, may have a
Oh.
game.
Oh, nice.
Or during the day, you may say, oh, they may play a game, and whoever wins can get a prize.
Mhm.
And that's what we did this year.
Okay.
And then we had lunch, we had little treats during the day. And then we ended it with like something big.
A real festival
Yeah,
type
festival
fun type
thing, yeah.
thing. Wonderful.
Then another thing we did too was we picked names for Valentine's. And so we had like a secret Valentine. So it was just a good idea.
That's great. Very nice, very nice. Lucille, you want to go? You had your hand up?
Yeah, we were celebrating our anniversary in January this year. And so one of the things we did was to honor the person that have been with the company for extended periods of time, 5 years plus.
Okay.
For each of the different levels, they were awarded in different ways. And then one to suggest that we haven't been doing actually is probably a continuous learner award.
Ah, that's new, different.
You know, well, in my profession, they tend to get their degree and then stay.
Oh,
So continuous upgrading is something that could be encouraged by the board.
oh, that's a very interesting one. I like that because, I love education and continuous lifelong learning. Because even every tutorial, YouTube has everything on it. Then you have some of these free, especially European schools, that you can get so many certifications, the diversity of certifications you can get. And so you be a continuous learner. So I think that's a nice one, very good one. And what's good about it, the company don't necessarily have to pay for it, because there's so much free stuff out there as well that people can access. Okay, great. Great. So you have some ideas you can take back to your organizations.
We also add a week of vacation for those who have been with the company for 10 years, 20 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay, the longer they're there, the more vacation they can get. Get
I
an
mean,
extra week?
no, well, just for that year, you get 5 more days out of the vacation, that's it.
Oh, it's a one-time thing,
One
right?
time thing.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, okay.
I'll take 5.
I mean, yeah, we can take the 5
They don't
days.
give money, they just give you
You get
time.
time off,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You can take that as well.
Oh.
Okay, excellent. What does the Lattice do? Y'all do, y'all, I mean, I know that big celebration y'all had the other day.
But for me, on my side of the harbor side, so it's a little different.
Oh, okay.
We where our owners, when they go back home, we have their email attached. They will send an email that they mention your name and it comes back online. They will give you like little trinkets, day off, vouchers, stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
And
So
my manager, she does every Mother's Day and Father's Day, she would give all the Mother's Day off or all the Father's Day off.
Ah.
And have a luncheon.
Oh, nice. Because you know, hotels are open 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They give all the money stay off. I mean, all the money who work
I
there.
think she would
they off.
schedule us, all of us
Oh.
that day. All the men will work, and then when it's Father's Day. the
Yeah, they
same
do
thing.
it. Okay.
You heard that, ladies? That's good.
That's-
That's an interesting one as well. Okay, great. Deltec doing anything? We want you to share so we can, they can see somebody's back. Tell us, let us know.
We got a wellness program, see, the people in that competitive, so what we did was, we said that we would reward them for being highly competitive, so. We used to do walkathons and all that type of stuff, but the aim of it is to bring the staff together and to reward them for participation. And so what that looks like is, we give you something similar to like an Apple Watch. And we use to track your progress, steps, all that type of stuff. You get money, like $1,000, $2,000 for like the winner. You get plane tickets to Fort Lauderdale and Marina. And then third place, you get other stuff like that. To kind of stimulate, encourage the staff. We also do
Morale.
fun days as well. We have that. We do karaoke nights as well. The winners get some cash prizes and stuff like that.
Oh.
Well, I can't come sing with you, lady. I like to hear it.
You put it down, right?
And then periodically, what we do where everyone is meet on teams, and so we present, and then we do like think tanks where people answer questions and stuff like that. It's like a mini Jeopardy, so to speak, or like a mini. When the show with Steve Harvey used to do,
Probably for your.
like that.
Oh.
And what you do is whatever you get, like, we'll either give you vouchers, like, drawing both gift certificates or money, stuff like that, extra, like days or.
Okay. Okay, excellent. So,
I can't tell them everything, but again.
What is more?
Excuse me, Ms. Bethel, we still haven't gotten the handout as yet, okay?
pardon me?
We still haven't, the handout hasn't been emailed as yet.
Okay, well, I've gone, read through it, so she said she's gonna scan it and email it to you. So you'll get it by the end, you'll get it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. So you have some exciting things that happens and it's happening in the organizations. And this is when you start networking and you ask what's happening, and then you can build on what someone else is doing to make it different and fit your culture. Now, the only thing I have to say to add to that is that when you're doing these things, you should ensure that you have a purpose, you know why you're doing it, and you have some type of criteria for measuring or distributing or giving. Yes?
I forgot. The thing we do too is, we, like how she talked about continuous ed, sorry. The problem with the throat, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead. I just want to make sure Denise is hearing you.
So what they do is they pay for staff for their education as well. So that's also an incentive for them as well. So we always have staff enrolled.
Oh, yeah.
So we pay them for that. We
We
pay
used to do
for the actual enrollment, and once they successfully complete it, we give them recognition, and then, we continue with the process of continuing to, get staff to keep up to date and keep certifying.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. So,
Yeah, if you don't pass, you have to pay back.
You Yeah.
Of course.
So you have to meet them in most institutions, at least a C.
Just don't let them take it.
At least a C, and you get reimbursed. I know most institutions, at least a C. And if you don't pass, you really have to reimburse. So that's good. That's continued supports continuous education. And some companies, organizations only allow that continuous education, formal certifications to a certain level. And it's based, and when I say that, you may not need a PhD to work in your organization, so they're not gonna pay for PhD.
Right.
Okay, if you want to do it,
job.
right, we make sure it's relative to your job and a lot of things. Okay, great. So make sure that you have some criteria of how you're going to measure to give to these awards and recognition to staff. And ensure that you are consistent with it and that your staff, if it's not a surprise type of like award or recognition, make sure people are aware of what you're doing and the criteria, okay? That you have established to do it, but keep it light. One of the things that you have to be careful of, you don't get so structured that it loses its excitement, okay, and begins to put pressure. Keep it light, make it fun and enjoyable for all participating in it. Okay, so we have an understanding of the need to boost morale in the workplace. We have an understanding of some of the things that you can do, and you have the opportunity to be creative in what you do in your organization. Any other comments on that? Because we're going to go to do something relative to a sort of revision to a certain extent. As we move on, anyone has anything to say, comment? Good. Okay, who was sitting here when I explained the exam, what you're gonna do? Anybody? Okay, one person, two, okay. Exam, basically, you're gonna have 2 questions, you answer one, and you have 5 short answers. Fine, 2 hours and it's done. All right? That's good? That's it? That's all.
Okay.
So no stress next week, just read through your work. Okay? Let's go now. What I wanted to do here. Go to page 2 at the beginning of the book. Well, let's go to page, it doesn't have a page number, but it talks about course objectives at the very front of your booklet. And this is what I hope that we have achieved, okay? It says, upon completion of this course, you should be able to, 1, and this is what you keep in mind when you're revising, you should be able to explore in depth the major roles of HR management, that's administrative, operational, and strategic, and how they directly impact the functioning of your business organization. Secondly, you were to explore HR management relationships with operational management and approaches for linking organizational and HR strategies and goals. Thirdly, you were to analyze the impact of organizational environment and culture on effective recruitment strategies, methods and tools, learning to formulate and design policies and set HR team objectives. Fourthly, understand the dynamics of and develop strategies for stimulating productivity and performance, that is through motivation and incentives, coaching and mentoring, correction and discipline, training and development. And fifthly, understand and develop HR management's leadership role, building influence, guiding the organizational team, leading and managing organizational change, and HR transition, and guiding employee performance. Took us 8 weeks to go through all of that. I think we've covered all of it. Anyone don't think so?
I think so.
It may not be in the depth as I would have liked it to be, but that's what you're reviewing, the information on that. Let's go to page 2 now.
Boy, this year, man, we have 6 people in here. Denise and Bodie and Kendra. I'm just trying to think how we can work out with you online, with this. But what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna give you a number, 121212, okay? 121212. Everybody got their numbers? Denise, 1. Bodie, 2, Kendra, 1. Okay? Now, what we're gonna do here, this here, if you look at this, 1 goes through page 1, it talks about administrative role. 2, it talks about the operational, and 3, it talks about the strategies. Okay? And what we're gonna take a few minutes, and you could do open book. When I say open book, you could refer to your notes. I want you in the ones to come together in a little pool. Okay, the twos in a pool. Okay, back front. I want you to provide the answers for each of these. Administrative and explaining, it says here basically the roles of HR as it relates to policies, systems, and procedures. The HR role as it relates to maintaining personal records. We did all of this stuff. The HR role as relates to compensation and benefits, as preparing employee records, updating internal databases. So you're gonna find the answers through your discussion in each of these, and then we're gonna come back and ensure that you're correct. Is that you do it as a group? Is that okay?
So we doing just
Yeah,
administrative?
All of them. No, we're
Oh,
going,
we doing-
this is your revision.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is how we're gonna revise this. Good night. The next, boy, one of you all need to come outside this and come back
Okay.
and create. The only way I can think of you doing this very quickly is creating a Zoom with the 3 of you all. Instead of you being 1, 2, 3 on there, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you create a Zoom and send it to each of those persons? Is that
Okay.
possible, Kendra?
Or is it
Yeah.
possible for me and Denise to do it because I have Denise's number, me and Denise can do it. Because
have
Kendra
Kendra,
isn't on here.
Oh, yes, that's right. We have, yeah, Kendra's on, hey.
No,
she's-
she came off. I think something is wrong with her. She's on and
Yeah.
off.
Okay, you two work on that then, quickly then, okay, that's
So
fine.
you want-
Denise, I'll call you.
Yeah, so then when you want us to come back on Zoom?
No, you don't have to do this, come back to the class. This is gonna take, I honestly don't think this is gonna take more than 20 minutes.
Okay.
Is that good? Y'all think it'll take longer than 20 minutes? No, because all y'all got the open book, you got the answers. Let's go. Okay, so 1 and 2 get together.
So what do you call me now then? Because I can just mute the Zoom then.
Yes, I can call you now.
Okay, great. Now, one of y'all need to come, yeah, right. You can refer to your notes and we're gonna complete that. Anyway, boy, I can see you don't want to wait tonight,
No.
boy, all that tiredness coming on you, what's wrong with you? They waiting that hard?
So we have to explain.
They waiting that hard, your wife, you're so here, or your wife waiting out there. No, baby, you better need to make sure, go home tonight.
Better find it.
You better find it.
Our administrative role.
Yeah, and you can refer to it. I need to report.
Our administrative role, and if I get the. Right. We have to formulate policies, come up with different systems and procedures. We have to maintain like personnel records through filing, the Electronic. Okay, I need to know.
So she just don't know.
No, I got that came out. First question. The first text was that.
Oh, you leave it on the 20.
Yeah, that, I mean, because I'm texting.
Y'all don't get two. Yeah. Yeah, let's identify, don't get too technical, y'all.
Either right side or left.
And you should jot it in your book, the other point of view, you know, your book, you put it in your time, go ahead.
I think so.
You see, you want to explain that, that's the goal, each of those goals, basically, informal. Rachel, you got it, and then if not, if you have an opportunity, we will have an opportunity in a few minutes, correct?
So, she's talking this way, but. Yeah, that's what we have. Each one.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and it's another way I understand. And then you're all working there. It's about like 45. Stick the information.
Hi.
Sorry for being late.
We thought you got tied up by someone else.
Wow. You don't know. Oh, that's why I say I had to come. If I was late.
Join the group. Either one.
We're gonna. She gave us this topic. I need to know what I studied for.
You're disturbing my class, and you're very late. Just on TV.
Studying for, mom,
You look like a dog baby tonight. You've been out.
Please have a seat.
Please have a seat. Please have a seat.
You're all I miss an hour. It was looked after me.
I'm gonna get to this because this is a week.
There's a paper, this is the same thing when she gave us the point.
Yeah, we have to
But you
explain.
gotta
these things we understand. Yeah, what we understand. So she just want us to.
Answer those questions, just as answer the role, just note what those roles say as it relates to HR. You can refer to your book, you refer to your notes, and let's just go through it very quickly. And if you do it as a group, you should be able to do that in 20, we're doing it in 20 minutes. We have 3 people online, 2 people online who are also doing it.
This page. We were in that. And she said, yes, yeah, we can just study that. And that in the front of the booklet. All of it, one,
Ay, esto es terrible.
That doesn't mean what I understand. I was right what I understood, but I was, you know, what everyone. And then you can add. Oh, this is the first one. Yeah. I thought she said that. Obviously.
Obviously.
She liked to write. She said, "Bye, bye, bye." And 2 questions, picking which one you want to talk about. But you don't have to answer the 2. All of the 2 asking questions. You answer 5 short answers. This big exam. I just like if you don't get the less things, you get more points. She gave the question going beach 20 or 10. She said, you don't have to answer, just get your grade. You just get the grade. So without a role, which is one of which you get a this child, I was like, wow. Everybody's like,
She got that. She got it.
They were.
You
get that height. Oh, you get that height. No, I think the one who's actually. She called it. Yeah, I feel like I'm saying you right here. It was on a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. You single. Like, sorry. You saw a picture? Oh, yeah. When I got up, she got up, like, you say, so it wasn't me. I know you say. When the birthday, my line is major, we get a beat. Oh, sometimes it's all me. Why do they? We can borrow. Wait, tomorrow, we didn't borrow. We're ready. I'll roll one. Yeah. What is the food? Now the law must be a hand to. Remember that? Okay. We said the law must be a hand to. I was wrong. I know the industrial. I was to be able to lock in like that. Why? Safety and clear spaces.
You hold it. Just like. This is our meeting, right? Yeah. Okay, properly.
You don't just off the shelf.
This goes from the kind of HR managers. This. In this rule should
It was two by the hand.
policies to protect and address concerns from employees.
Is that it?
In this rule, we should implement relevant policies. And address concerns from employees.
You will complete 5 short answers and 1 answer. You have a question. You will solve what? You teach man what that? I didn't promise. Yeah. This exam is not giving you enough mark. If you mess up on the essays, that is it. You need something else to get more. Concentrate on what we do on their face. We don't know about this exam. Look, you come disrupting my class, I can tie you up for the last time. We are encouraged. We are ready. Concentrate on this. This is important to move forward. This is enough. Good luck for me.
Consider to ensure, you're contributing to make a vision.
You have 10 more minutes.
10 minutes.
You ready? Put 10 in, yes, I have the time.
I like what I understood. And you
understood
that. To make the vision. Key. Always make recommendations to better company.
Okay, so what the private step? And how it's got. Strategic. And then we have to say that we think it means. Of course. And that's what you're I hope you done this time, I right?
Yeah, this is,
Play my way can will be so fun. Or you put it. It's crazy.
Especially 1 hour, 2 hours. Doesn't take this.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Second.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday.
Yeah.
Like they put an hour to do everything.
I have a couple, I'm gonna look at the paper, if it's not true.
Yeah, that's why it was kind of. We're not. No, no security for the job. Today, or.
Oh, she gave it that one, that was about it. Okay.
Oh.
And then-
Sorry.
You know what, you know. Exactly.
Sorry. I thought I- Something delayed. Sorry. Like that, focus on project, like that, something to do with like personality or emotional.
Some people emotional and some it's really low.
Honestly.
Bad. Yeah, it doesn't exist. That's wild. I see it, the emotions is crazy.
You the hearing it up.
I haven't had. All the time.
So like, hey,
Yeah.
this is too much.
Odie, Odie.
I like to stay and I stand up.
He worked in Ada.
Who?
The-
I don't.
Yeah, of course.
I actually, yeah. I don't let you think.
Yeah.
It's fine, I need to figure it out.
He's surrounded by other and like females.
I would be paying attention.
Organism in my own. Just like you say.
But you're not one. Yeah, I get frustrated because. You know, but you got that. You know,
What?
got time, huh?
Crazy.
He's a good fit for age out there.
Yeah. I think, yeah, life story. Yeah, alright. Good. Even though that doesn't.
I believe some people I know, they got to, because they, like, one time, they like, they didn't have any, no emotion. I like it now. I like that. I believe they said that.
No, Charlie,
Yeah, naturally.
the rest of somebody else. Don't you want to fuck the part?
It ain't gay, it's all good.
This is the person of mistake. Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just work for a bunch of them, I work for females.
Oh.
Females, but they're out there.
We wear it on our sleeve. And women, mostly I can control their.
Trust me,
Self-control.
I realize.
You realize.
Too low.
Hi, Ms. Bethel.
She walked on the class.
She wanted us to do all three: administrative, operations, and strategic, or just the administrative?
All three.
All three.
Oh, okay, thanks.
That is, that is, right? Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we have to know.
When they get irrational.
Just take my breath.
They're gonna be. That is right, like
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually do what I learned, you know.
Put it in context.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. like now, it's just storing up in my brain.
Yeah.
Because right now, where I work, and I you in the law firm? So what you do there? Oh, yeah, that's so far from.
But then some of that is for us.
Yeah.
And some of that is for us. In an administrative assistant.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my job is here to help me.
It's for us.
Yeah, because so many people I would, but I would, a lot of these people.
Because I know some administrative assistants. job. I know some administrative assistants.
Okay, and then there's a lot of issues.
Oh.
So it was more or less administration. Meeting like.
You do.
But they have one of those. She deals with that. So I basically. That's why I. Yeah, like you utilize some of these skills. I used to feel like very long time ago, I needed to be like, get more. Like I had my HR degree, but I needed to get in the HR role. 2007. So would you do it, you just brush it up, why? I don't know my associate. Right, and then I after that, I have insurance. I continued. And I did the PHRI with Synergy. I mean, as PHRI. You got that? I got it, this, yeah. With HR, HRCI, Certificate Institute in Virginia. I got it online. I want to do that. Yeah. Now, the thing is with those certifications, you have to be in the rules at least 4 years. To do the PhD. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Just to want to get to the interview, like the last
Yeah,
one.
they said that's one time. They do only one time. They have to have some study for the reject, come there, like, so you don't think that. Yeah. You could do it now, or like how I did it. Now, I could come there. And do that. Oh, okay, well, I have to have knowledge of it. Yeah. You have to be in the role, to say, like, work in the position, but you have to have the knowledge of human. Oh, I didn't know that. And the proof of having the knowledge, the certificate. So when they see that I did, I can there and then go to do that. Yeah. It's recognized. So I guess this is equivalent to being in the role, like how you work in the role. This, she's two classes here. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Yeah. It is practical.
No, it is something that is practical.
Over here, HR people don't leave their job.
What? No, for real talk.
I see what you're saying. It's hard, it's like they'll stay there for 30-40 years. Yeah. You should try getting a company first then.
A lot of people don't take into account understanding the personality types. That's what I was telling them. Because my boss, my main boss, the chairman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, that is the CEO. Charlotte and John.
Oh, Charlotte, come here.
He's the chairman.
What do you say?
But this is a thing we do in conjunction with somebody else.
Okay.
But more project to deal with the employee emotions, the emotions of each employee.
I messaged you after you replied. You know.
I left my phone in the car.
Like
To Chanel. Ida. And then Benjamin Clark is our executive.
In HR?
He's our chief legal officer.
He's not there. Every day?
No, he's in Canada, he's working for us.
He's not in that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
They used to work there. Yeah, they are doing it because,
How long is it?
after-
Okay, like I got more of my,
sorry.
I know.
After they
I
were
was straight there for like 5 years.
interview.
Yeah.
But then they
had
send
it
you
done.
a personality
And that's one
test.
of the
you
100
take.
of us. That
So
was
they
before
are doing
COVID.
it, like the body of the interview.
And everything,
I
I
get
get
to
that.
size
Like
up.
100.
But that's only one type of thing, though. Then we looking at, start to engage the motion of management,
Oh,
each employee.
Yeah.
That is, at the
So
minute,
who was HR?
what we doing is up on thing,
It's what he's talking about now.
but we moving into a different territory. We
She
actually
didn't
try to
have the
make
role,
it
she
into an
got- she
actual
got program.
program.
Okay.
Like that.
How much more time you need?
We
touching
That's
on
like
the-
we are
we touching on the-
touching
Yeah,
on
they-
the.
We touching on
Where they
the
are at,
sub-points.
see what kind of city they are.
We doing, okay, like your boss.
This is
is not
part of
like-
the
I will-
project that we
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, are we touching?
Much larger project, we started with that.
So what it is, when you go to.
What is that?
Okay, you go to operational, right?
I didn't know.
You have-
No, it is a part of it, but like they said.
Like that, you want.
What we doing
Okay,
is
like that.
work, but them to.
Yeah, that's
more
what
with
you're
the-
doing.
That's a lot of work.
You-
Well, and how big is your team?
Right now, it's me and another person.
That's in yours.
No, not in job.
You work a dual role.
What you did, you just did it
Work
on
with you,
both.
yeah.
So you're a general.
No, that's it, it's not, you have something to do with HR.
It have to do with
If you
HR,
have an appointment, you look at you for the appointment.
it's not with him directly, no.
It would Benjamin Road. People abroad.
No, I work with, for right now, it's.
Okay,
Okay,
2 minutes.
And then, once that's done, then other parts of the department should take it.
But everyone, exactly.
Okay,
Okay, so we just start.
I went.
No, right?
I'm gonna get another one.
Friday, lady.
Yeah, and I'm really excited.
Now we gotta.
How y'all coming? Just about finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, sounds good.
You been out there?
Okay.
You see our areas, man, you see this?
I had a little engagement, but I was in different class. I might come late, but I will come.
You'll get this, full points.
Yeah, mom, I need all my money.
Oh, okay. I can even go there.
You know, I thought.
Yeah.
She came by us. Yes, she.
Yeah, can go there. No, she worked now.
Yeah.
She worked now.
Or she just retired, I think.
Oh.
Or retired, right?
Yeah, she signed up for the class.
You want to go? The soldier. Oh. What? You really see.
You know, all the time she did, you call her.
What I tell?
Look, man.
Very, don't. What?
I'm not
Hey,
a lot
you'll
of
get me mixed up.
insurance companies on their website.
You're at a state, at
Yeah,
a
you
state.
see people.
And then you say what is after, and I call you.
Yeah,
and you
prices.
say, Oh, I apologize. So you, who on this,
Yeah, prices.
Oh,
That's right.
Oh, okay. You're gonna be in a few days.
So, Ms. Bethel, last class, you gave us this handout about change. Is that gonna be on the exam?
I love your directness.
I mean, listen, you have to make sense, you understand, when you're dealing with a person who have to deal with their child that's taking GLAD exam and final exam, and then a toddler. You have to deal with them, and then you gotta try to focus, so you can't be focusing on all of it, you gotta be direct, so when I go to bed and I'm waking up 3 o'clock in the morning, because I gotta make sure everybody else sleeping, so I can study in peace. I need to know what I'm studying for, I can't be studying for change.
On the big exam, none of this there, I'd be so frustrated. I mean, honest.
You know what you represent, and I like that. I like
So
what you
that's
said.
why I'm being honest.
The working
We are here, we are
That's
working
what we're gonna do.
individuals.
We're gonna go through
We
this
are
very
working
quickly,
on-
and that's why we're gonna get up in a few minutes.
I don't want to go with that, I will check my alarm, I can get up and I can
Relax
study
yourself.
3 hours in the morning.
Relax, my dear.
I just don't want that.
Relax.
I am relaxed, I'll be more relaxed if you can tell me exactly what I need, what we need to study for. You don't like when your class, okay, tell me what is all you get it,
And say,
let me understand.
Tell me so.
See?
What you mean?
No, oh, no, let me go do it. You see, you'll need, but would she have her?
It's okay. It's almost over.
Yeah, she, but not only that, she needs a, she needs a phone number, right, for her to send the link. No, she sent it to her by email. Okay, I'll tell, let me tell Belinda, I'll be right back.
But we're gonna be winding up in a minute.
You right.
She right, oh, I can't even. She doesn't give her time, but she thinks, you know. She thinks, oh, girl, listen, they have a lot of plans, she said, yeah, and when the king of talk, she just a new.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
I'm just.
I put you back in the room. Immediately.
If you wasn't here, so you was, we took you in a break.
Yeah.
Only because we had to do another.
Only because
project.
they're.
And that was then, I would, we could have been doing you. Exactly.
I can say that they done, but it's not you.
He got you then. He got you. Definitely. I like to study what I need to study.
She's gonna try to stand it, but she should have said that earlier. Okay, let's rock and roll. Administrative role of agent Denise, you all back on?
Hi.
Hi, okay. Great. Back on?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's wind this up. You know, I have Miss Tyab still trying to manipulate my class. And want me to give her all the answers.
Not true.
And
I agree with Tatum tonight.
what's that?
I agree with Tatum tonight.
Denise? Oh, the entire class.
I can keep my hand up.
No, yeah, you keep your hand down. Keep on this tonight.
I clear out
You see Molly just think he's stay right
He's
there.
so tired. Molly could hardly keep his head up. We only had to make sure that he hasn't been in enough classes, you know, so he don't repeat nothing. But it's all good. We're gonna finish up in a few minutes. We gotta go through this. Okay, we're reviewing. This is our way of review. Let's begin with you. We're looking at the administrative roles. We're defining the roles. This was the first. I need to get the register. She didn't even give me a register. Nobody is signed.
We need that rest. Now we go out. Attendance, how much points back? I need every.
Oh, my.
Oh, dear. Lord have mercy.
You see, I come late.
And disrupted my class. Okay, I have to get them. I have to get a register.
You have an email, I don't have one right there.
You have an email? No, Anastasia. I need a register as well. I didn't get a blank register. She gets it for me. She come, give it to.
What's
Yeah,
your name?
Alicia. She give it to you. You know, let me see if I have. I'm not sure if I ever sent her something. Just give us a minute, Denise. Okay. Oh, she on another name. You could just text her, let her know she's gonna do it. Yeah. Thank you. That's what it was. She's on a different name and her email address. Okay, all right, what do we want to look? This is basically, hi, everyone. What we're doing is basically what we have covered, covered over the last 8 weeks, okay? We know that HR basically has a strategic role. It has an hello. It has a strategic role it plays. It's a major carrier of the oversight of the operation, or the intermingles with operation, and its key role is administration. HR functions, as you know, mainly most of the functions are administrative. But if it's going to be a strategic partner and part of the decision-making process, it finds itself involved in the other two roles, okay? Operations and strategizing as to how to move forward. Okay, when we look at the role it plays, we want to look at the role HR plays as it relates to policies, systems, and procedures. Which group wants to begin with that? Defining that.
What policies and procedures come under administrative.
Okay, policies and procedures fall under
Administrative, right?
administrative, is administrative roles. HR plays a major role as relates to policies, procedures, and systems. Okay, what we're trying to define HR role in those. One of the things, okay, for example, when a person comes into the organization, they are made familiar with the organization's policies, its procedures, and its structures, right? The different systems that exist. Am I correct? Okay, when they come and they have to be made familiar.
That was Hotmail or Gmail?
Hotmail.
Oh, because it's on back.
Okay. They have to be made familiar with those particular roles. That's part of the orientation as well. All right. If people do not know your policies, they do not know your procedures, then how are you going to evaluate them? How are you going to discipline them? How are you going to provide succession plans or career development for them? Those things cannot take place unless people are familiar with those. So HR plays a very important part in ensuring that those things, policies exist, not only for its particular department, but every manager or every unit within the organization has policies to govern their activities relative to what they are responsible for. And you know, you have the policies, but then you have to have the process or the procedures as to how they will be enforced. And those things have to be documented because they become part of your evaluation process.
So, just one moment. So with this being said, these procedures and policies are in the handbook. Isn't this the handbook that you read and you should be given in the orientation to know what's going on in the organization? Or this is the handbook plays another part, another role?
The handbook plays another role. You
Okay.
cannot put you can only put some policies, general policies, as it relates to employees' behavior in your handbook. But when you go into, let's say, the finance department, I cannot put all the policies that relate, that govern finance
In the handbook.
in the handbook.
Okay.
All right, but there are some general policies that relate to the human resource oversight that are put normally in your employee handbook.
Okay.
Okay? So you understand what you're doing here now? Denise, Voting, y'all got it?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the second one then. So everybody understands what HR role is there as relates to those? What is HR role as relates to maintaining personal records? What's important?
The administrative rule. Okay.
As it relates to administration, maintaining personal records is part of HR's responsibility as an administrative role that HR carries on. We just talked about this a few,
Ensuring that they are like employee records are filed and organized appropriately. Whether it's done manually or electronically. Or I guess so that you can, as a reference, so you can go back to it in case there is an employee
issue, whatever.
issue, or in case an employee wants to come and look at their file, and yeah, it's a good reference for the bank.
So HR has to ensure that they're accurate,
Mhm.
they are maintained,
Yeah,
they're updated, okay? Pardon me, and they are
compliance.
compliant. Great. What's HR role as relates to compensation and benefits?
Make sure the people get paid on time.
That's one. There's parity in compensation as well. Fair. What else?
Fairness.
Fairness, of course.
Competitive.
That they're competitive,
Competitive,
right?
yeah.
And competitive, that's right, relevant, yes.
Mhm.
What's happening at organizations? What else?
Make sure that the compensation information or data is confidential.
Yes, that's very
Correct.
important.
Shared. Correct.
That's very important. The HR has to ensure that whatever compensation employees are receiving, that is kept confidential. That your benefits administration, how does HR relate to benefits administration?
Yeah.
They have to
Providing.
We have to make sure that employees are
Understand, yeah.
that the proper benefits are offered to them.
Yeah.
We have to
And
make
all
the
the benefits
distinction.
that are offered. 'cause some of them
Okay,
are-
that HR familiarizes employees with whatever benefits packages that are offered, that they are aware and familiar with their benefits, the limitations as well as it relates to it, the relevancy to them as it relates to it. Okay? This is an you all know the answers. Let's go.
Do we?
Anything else with compensation and benefits administration?
Make sure it's the best fit for your employee or your candidate, meaning that, you don't. I know there's a range, so you don't wanna make sure, you don't wanna give a middle person an entry level position, knowing that they're. You understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, yes, of course. You
Yeah.
want to ensure, right, that whatever the ranges that are established in a person entering an organization, that their qualifications and experiences match how they are compensated, but it still falls within the range.
Right.
One of the things, you cannot go outside of that,
Right.
because when you go outside it, then it creates other issues.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I'm happy Tatum said that as well, Ms. Bethel. So that's also, I guess, equally compensated even throughout their career development. Like, for instance, when it comes to Christmas bonus, salary increases, making sure that that's also equally compensated.
And
For,
that's
I
the-
guess,
that's important. And it's important that people are compensated properly based on what the policy is that you have established for compensation. And the HR is responsible for ensuring that you adhere to that. And even when it comes to, if your compensation is tied to your performance management system, they have to ensure that it matches what is outlined in the performance management, that you were compensated accordingly. All right? Okay, great. Preparing employee records. What's HR role there?
Just
We
like
have
she
to
said.
establish, we have
Make
to
sure they are
establish,
organized.
we have to
Like
establish
you said,
employee
if it's
records
edit,
for when they
edit.
come. to-
One, you have to establish the employee records
Yeah, from
Well,
when they
yeah,
first
yeah.
enter. the
from
organization.
entering the
Exactly.
organization.
You have to update it based on.
Update it? Great. What else?
it?
Don't you have to check and research and exactly, make sure it's accurate, right? Yes,
Yes,
very, very important.
and make
Yeah,
sure
but some
all
people-
the.
Some people like have the wrong name, and you know, people name alike.
Yeah.
And I know in this when this person say, every time when they go to the bank, they ain't get paid.
Oh, wow.
How do we go? No, for true, some people have the same name, or something, I don't know what happened,
Wrong
but,
record.
or the wrong account number,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
was off. Right.
And then you have presumptuous people in the bank
Yeah.
because who just posted
I don't do it, and they don't do
for
it. due
profit,
diligence.
profit,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's
Because
your,
Because just like how we can, because I used to work in a bank, and like familiar with that, there's a lot that you use to determine, because we used to have people when I used to work to Scotia and BOB. You said some people who have the first name and the last name. Different middle name, same first initial, same first letter for the middle name. And you could differentiate them by their national insurance number. That's always the key indicator then.
Yeah.
By their customer information number too. And that just has, details that are different from the person, like their address and stuff like that. So like she said, it's a presumptuousness on the bank because they don't do their due diligence.
and another thing, you have a joint account with an individual and you go and change, your salary goes,
That's the one that-
that's another, that just happened recently. I'm like, they gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah,
But
so,
then that ain't really on the bank, cause the
That's
employee
on the
gave the
individual.
number, that gave the individual,
Yeah,
they
that's
gave
on
them
the
that account
individual.
number, but they
No.
had a joint account
But
with
the
it.
no,
and-
no, the
Personal
employee
should-
the employee has an individual account. They gave HR that account. That
Yeah.
account is put into their system. They send it to the bank and the bank does not post it to the right. They post it to the,
Yeah.
Joint account.
the joint account.
Yeah.
That's on the
That's
back. So you have, like I said, it's the presumption,
Yeah.
presumption
That is-
of presumption of the bank sometimes. But anyhow, that's outside of HR. But one of the things HR has to ensure that the data it receives is accurate,
And correct.
accurate and correct.
So
Okay,
that means you have to be very vigilant and take your time. when
Yeah.
you're dealing with these
don't let nobody rush you with
Yeah,
nothing in
follow up
HR,
with
the
them
records.
when they give you their account number.
Updating, and that's right, updating internal databases, that's very important. What is HR role there? One of the things you have to do periodically,
Update the data.
update. You
That's
have to
telephone
say-
numbers,
telephone numbers,
date of birth,
address, everything.
Passport, all the KYC
Yeah,
documents.
Exactly. And ensure that they're compliant as well, okay?
and then,
Yeah.
and
The
then-
people that move, don't even tell you.
and then in the case of us, we doing,
But then when all.
Wait, 1 minute.
Also,
What, sorry, what you were saying?
yeah, just in conjunction with she was saying, so in terms of being compliant, but we
Yeah.
doing now for us. Because of the hurricane season and all that, we have contingency plan in place, and so, as a part of updating records. A lot of people addresses ain't the same no more, they change the numbers, all of that, so that's why that's equally as important.
yeah.
So HR can be busy with just
Yeah.
updating
Very.
internal, but it should be done periodically. That's HR role, to do it periodically to ensure that it's accurate and up to date. Somebody drops down dead, God forbid,
Yep.
on a job. And if the insurance data has not been updated, okay, properly, you have major issues.
Mm.
You don't even know who you go pay the insurance to sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
So
say
they have to fill the form.
they fill the form,
Beneficiary, but.
the beneficiary, but if it's not updated, those two beneficiaries could have died before they died.
That's true.
So that means nobody's there.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay, so y'all take your work seriously. I've seen it happens. And who When they say you're dead, you don't know who you're leaving
Dead
anything
man
to.
can't talk.
A dead man can't talk, God forbid, but one of the most unfortunate things is that who you never intended to have it, dead.
Falls in their hand.
Yeah, right. So even insurance, you'll be careful with it, make sure you keep your records up there, that's one of the HR rules. And pensions, yes.
So, as an example, but just a tidbit, for us with our beneficiary forms, we give you up to each 3 in the event of, so you have your first one, which is your primary.
Mhm.
If they drop down dead or die, it's a secondary,
Mhm.
something happened to them, you have to third, and
Mhm.
just stop there.
Mhm.
And then
And-
after that, it'll be up to the attorney to settle with your state, if all 3 of those people that you name crop up, and
Mhm.
they can't fulfill that, so.
Right, and it goes to the next relative who may be the meanest person to you. Operational. What's HR role to reinforce core values? Bodie, what you say?
Keep an open dialogue
Open dialogue,
and to empower the employees
what do you mean by that?
to give, like to respect employees and to give good notes and good thoughts to each employees.
Okay, one of the things that you want to do is to ensure HRO that everyone coming into your organization, that they are familiar with your core values, which are documented as a documented document. It should be attached to your vision and mission statement and your core values listed so that when people agree to be a part of your organization, they understand your culture, they understand the expectations. And that is no one else's role at this time other than HR's role. That's one of the fundamental things of HR. Okay? So that's one of the main things because you have to constantly reinforce this to new employees. And then you may want to do some type of familiarization sessions periodically with the entire general staff as it relates to core values. So they have a clear vision and direction of where you're going and what supports every activity that takes place in the organization. Okay? Foster appropriate environments. What's HR's responsibility as it relates to that?
Health and safety.
Health and safety is key. Very good. I was about to say, very good. That's one of the things that people are in a comfortable environment, air conditioned working, water is available, proper lighting, desk, what you call the desk, chairs, everything works properly.
I'll give you an example. We had a employee that was being harassed on the job, and that was my first time getting something like that. So
Harassed by the coworker.
but I can't go into it.
No, let's let him say what he did. I tell you, Tyra. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we had to,
Listen.
It's an introduction thing, so they brought it to my attention, so we have to deal with it, so we removed the actual person. Because we had to do an investigation, we had to get both sides. And at the end of it, we removed one person and then to facilitate the other person.
When
getting
you
back
say
to-
move, you mean fire?
But
Terminate.
getting back to her being comfortable with, in the working space as it stands, so.
Maybe move to another department, another unit.
So you didn't fire them?
We removed them from the property,
Okay, fine.
yeah.
Okay.
Just leave it like that.
Even like that. yeah.
All right. So we want to
No, because.
you
that's
want to
what-
minimize, make sure policies are in place as it relates to sexual harassment in the workplace, so that you know what action, if any action has to be taken. The policy is there, the procedures as to how to deal with that violation is in place, and so you can take the appropriate action. All right, so that's HR's role.
Because you said that was the first time you dealt with it.
Yeah.
But they had something in place.
Yeah, but I had to follow, follow.
No, I like the fact that he said that they remove the person, because some companies,
Yeah, they keep.
they keep the person and they shuffle them around, or like she say, you move them in a different area, but that don't solve the problem. Because
it
as long
doesn't.
as they can still interact or get at this
Exactly.
person, they will continue in different ways.
Yes.
You understand, and then, like, I think everybody in.
Yeah, like, and that's what happens. And I've seen that in very large organizations. For example, maybe this may be in a Royal Bank. I'm not saying it is. Because you're so large,
They put
You
them in a
can-
branch.
you could go different places, right? But it does not solve the problem
It does not.
because
It does not.
initially it will come
Right back.
right back again. So the person may need some employee assistance, get some appropriate counseling and professional help. And that becomes HR role from an operational. Foster appropriate environments is very, very important. And one of the key things, like you said, creating a healthy work environment. And sometimes one of the things HR may do, once again, awareness seminars, awareness fairs, where you bring in professionals dealing with certain aspects of health issues as well. Psychiatrists, psychologists, whatever is needed. And employees have expressed an interest to create a positive environment. Control and cost. What's the HR role as relates to control and cost?
The budget.
The budget.
Ah.
Has to be implemented.
Okay, budget,
Budget.
budget,
Salaries.
what's that?
No, I was saying budget as it relates to salaries. I guess, overall operational cost.
Yes,
Uh,
events, yes. Salary,
Yeah.
yes, okay, even health and
yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
HR has a very, very important role in ensuring that we control the cost. Because if the budget don't, if it hasn't been passed and approved in the budget, sometimes you just can't get it, you're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
You want to maximize price, that's cost, that's budgets again, okay?
Yes. When
You
you say
know-
maximize, you want the best parts? What do you mean when you say maximize?
You make sure you get the value for your investment.
Okay.
You don't waste,
Okay.
not because it ain't coming out your pocket,
Mhm.
you don't care. You
So,
care.
so maximizing price then, is
Wait,
definitely
wait,
more than
wait,
stationary then.
Denise, go ahead.
Maximizing price will come then more than each stationary then. Supplies and stationaries, when you say you don't waste because it's not coming out of your pocket,
Not necessarily, no,
not necessarily.
no. It's you, basically, everything the company is investing in, you have to make sure you're getting the maximum results and benefit from it. Even you as a person,
employee.
Cost, like, when they invest in you to take the cost, you know, to make sure, how does it value the company?
ex-
You know?
exactly, this education, and what is being said here, once I invest, I pay $6,000 for you to do a pro course, I can't afford you to go and fail that. Like you said earlier, you're gonna pay me back if you fail that. Okay, but basically you're getting the maximum results from whatever the investment is. It's bigger than just things.
Well, we pay for the cost at the place that we even go somewhere.
Exactly, and that happens. And what we say, when that happens, Molly, you have, as an HR professional, once it passed, okay, you've approved it, you have to think national. You think you're not just local anymore for your company, you bring the mindset with investment, with education and certification. It's national, the employee, the person is still in your country contributing to its growth and development. That's the way you get over that, and that happens all the time. Labor law compliance, what is HR role as it relates to that?
Labor laws, employment act, everything that would.
Every act that you have.
And being familiar with it, but also knowing where to reference these acts if the information is needed, like when you came this afternoon, you shared with us a law related to vaccination, and something we didn't know, that there's a penalty that you pay if you don't vaccinate your child. And it's considered an offense. I never knew that. But basically compliance to the laws and having references these laws, or where you can reference them, so that the right decisions can be made. Rules of conduct, most employees provide rules of conduct, breaches, major breaches, discipline, and its application, and what happens when they are violated. Safe environments, we talked about that, health and safety, that could go under that HR role, enforcing those and making sure that they are complied with. Ethical dealings, we're on page 4. Ethical dealings is another part of operation. You can't keep and don't expect to pay the price.
Yeah.
You can't lie and don't expect
Exactly.
both.
Exactly.
All right, so there are ethical practices which need to be adhered to, and HR once again plays a role by familiarizing employees with the expectations of the behavior that's acceptable in the work environment. So you see what we're doing here. Okay, let's go to strategic strategies. I'm going to leave you all to finish these last ones then. I did the rest. Let's go. Human capital management. What is your strategy as it relates to that? What is it talking about there? Recruitment.
Okay.
Human capital management.
Well, Molly's going to say, go ahead.
Hiring and recruiting.
How we
I
manage,
never thought of that.
how we deal with the staff that we have, but it
Yeah.
runs from recruitment to the onboarding process, to mapping out their career trajectory, the career planning, how they advance, leadership, mentoring, and all of that is part parcel
Part of human capital management.
as well as rewards as well too, because all of that ties. into
Rewards and morale boosting, yeah. So HR plays a major role in that. Good, that's a good point. Good point. She expanded it quite a bit there. Okay, and remember, if HR is at the table, they become part of the strategic initiative plan as to how these things are executed in the organization. But if they do not sit, they're part of the decision making. If they don't sit at the table, they would never be able to strategize or execute or carry out the strategies that have been decided to implement in the organization. Okay, great. Organizational development. Excuse me. Organizational development. Training is part of that.
HR, financial accountability.
Pardon me? No, what you say? Training is definitely part of career development.
So basically, it just maps how you wanna grow, not so much grow, but enhance the organization itself, and it starts from recruitment. It looks at from the department level, all the way up to the executive level. It's about having a detailed blueprint of how you're gonna
Move forward.
move forward as an organization. How you're gonna do that, what that looks like on the departmental level, in general. So you look at hiring, firing, who you want in terms of which roles and positions you want to fill, how do you want to expand that department, or even downsize or completely eliminate the department. All of that is a part of
Organizational management.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're going to give you an A in the class?
Are you serious?
Oh. No, very well put. Very, very well put. Because
you just going through a whole reorganization exercise.
So-
I thought
Oh, that's
all of this in one
fine.
shot.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
very good. You had a great experience. We've been talking foolishness. We've been talking sense over the last 8 weeks.
That was a hard
That was
experience too,
intense.
sometimes.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So it's very, very important that you once again sit at the table, because once these goals, remember the vision is expressed, it's explained, the methodology, the mission, in other words, which is the methodology, tells you how you're going to get there. Then if HR is at the table, it has an understanding of how or the direction the organization wishes to move or develop it. If we have a 5-year plan that within 5 years, we're going to expand, we're going to get a new building, we're going to open new operations and other family islands, then HR then has to be part of that mission because it has to prepare its employees and its manpower to meet the future goals, to meet the future direction, the direction the organization is moving in. Okay, great. Recruitment, engagement, knowledge, management of employees, resourcing, and talent management. Well, you just explained that to a certain extent, but HR basically drives each one of those. Okay? Each one of those.
I have a hand that I'm looking at, and I just need you to, just give me some clarity. This says HR management as a strategic business contributor involves the following, right? When you have here redesigning an organization and work process, does that fall under the organizational development? What's that?
It falls under strategy, strategic planning.
And the strategies that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But I'm asking if this particular strategy would come under organization development, not human capital management then, because you see you have different points. You have ethical.
It's a combination. You cannot necessarily have them, what you call it, interlink? Intertwine, that's the word, yeah.
So if I come back, it can be used. So that can be a part of it then.
Yeah.
Show you.
Yeah, yeah, so, sorry, sorry.
She going to 8:30.
But it like,
It just really.
yeah, because you see, when they open these doors, and you know, the door open and people come in, right? You know, right, and they, right? So, I mean, that threw me off, but no, they're intertwined, okay? All right, so you, based on what you're saying, the capital management, all of this here is part of capital management. All right, but capital management, we're talking with the overview. Basically, with this here specifies what HR, this is some of the specific things that HR do to fulfill the goals or the strategic plan of the organization. It's responsive, like those presentations you all did with your different companies were excellent because you formulated your company. You talked about the recruitment, how you were going to engage, how are you going to make the employees knowledgeable, how are you going to manage and the things that you were going to do, where you're going to get that talent from. You talked about the different methodologies you would use to advertise the position and bring them in, and then how you were going to manage the talent. And that's all relating to HR. And lastly, managing well, no, it's one more after that. Managing organizational change. What's HR role in that? We just did change management last week. Y'all wake up, we almost there. We just did change management last week.
Making sure that whatever changes is going on.
And then the change part.
Wait, let him finish, let him finish, go ahead. Go on.
Making sure it's a matter of urgency, get all of the employees on board, with the change or what's gonna be happening futuristically with the company. Get a change management, agent or who deals with that specifically, I guess you can do that. But yeah, that's my little.
Little thing would change, okay, anything else you could add to that?
We need to motivate the team. Person, they not really acceptable of change.
Yeah.
So when you're gonna be going to a change, you have to basically reiterate it, I assume, that you have to speak about it constantly so they can get adapted to it. When they hear about it more and more, and they know that this is the way forward.
This is the way forward, so you have to unfreeze,
Oh, yeah.
then what?
Refreeze, freeze again, refreeze, right?
Refreeze and freeze.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Okay, freeze it. Okay, and that's through, Lord. That's through knowledge and familiarizing people, communicating. You remember communication is a critical part of change management. You have to familiarize them with the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats, which they may be faced with as it relates to change management. Someone on the line wanted to say something? Bodie? Okay, well, we can move on. And then the next one was industrial relations and employee relations, very critical. We just talked this evening about ways and how you can boost morale in the organization. You have a whole sheet there as to how you can strengthen employee relations, but also labor relations is very, very important in the organization. They refer to it here as industrial relations by being familiar with the laws of the country and the compliance to those laws. And make sure that your employees, HR should make sure that their employees are aware of those relations, industrial relations, and aware of any changes that may be made to the laws of the country. Last year, we had a major one where salaries, minimum wage went up to $2.58.
Yeah.
Okay, so if HR was not aware of that and did not apply that to its compensation and benefits, there would have been many, many unhappy people. Because remember, that law affected not just your salary, but affected your benefits, such as insurance, okay? Such as bonuses. There are so many other things that affected outside of the basic salary. And a lot of people thought that it was just gonna be probably general public thing that's just gonna be 200 up to 250. But it probably cost most companies $350 to implement that upgrade.
Right.
So many other things were tied to it. Okay,
That's why this stuff went up.
exactly, and it ain't stopped going up. Jesus, anyhow. Rewards and management, you have tonight, HR roles. You have been given some examples and ideas of how you can reward. You've been given a list of, you have with you a list of awards, recognition things that you can implement in your organization. And these don't necessarily have to come from you, They can also come from other units within the organization. So you have a critical role to play as future HR professionals or as HR professionals. But the main thing is to keep in mind that you do have an administrative role to play, you have an organizational role to play, and you have a strategic role to play. And when you bring it all together, they all intertwine, they all link together, and would keep the, if you do your job well, it will keep the organization efficient and productive, and it will survive any storm. Any comments or questions?
I was gonna add something when you talked about the employee relations aspect of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I can.
Oh, you want something else? Go on, come on, you can go ahead.
Oh, it's just a pretty simple.
I let's listen to what he says.
It was only just, from my experience being in it now, it's just having a simple conversation with people, just.
1 minute, somebody's talking, I don't know where. Oh,
It's just about saying hi, hello, and then most times, because I just do that every morning, people come and actually just have a conversation, they'll call. And, like I say, sometimes you'll have a come to Jesus moment, or you just have a moment with these people where they just want someone to talk to, all of that, and I just find that in doing that, people come to you more, and they rely on you for as a source of information too, so it's just being humane, I would say, being hospitable, so just because you're HR, doesn't mean that, it's just you sitting in the office handling all that, you still have to interact with the people.
touch.
Yeah.
People want touch, and they want
And they will
relationships,
see you.
and they want, presence. Remember, you're gonna walk, talk, and make yourself available. And even if you have other operations and other islands, do the Zoom, do the chat, okay, periodically. Make yourself, people want to touch you, okay, and ensure that there's mutual respect throughout your engagement with your staff.
Or when you have to be confidential.
Oh, yes, most definitely confidential, but like my experience is you confidential, but the employees still run them out.
They talk their own business. right?
Yes, yeah,
No, that's true.
but it's the truth. Okay, guys, any other questions? Diane, Bodie, you all right? Kendra, you all good?
Yes, we're good. Thank you. This is really truly helpful.
Yes.
Good. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank
And
you.
I'll talk to you all. I'll see you all next week, Wednesday. God bless. Good night.
Yeah.
So you'll
Yes,
come,
ma'am.
you'll come next week Wednesday.
What's that?
So you'll be with us in the final exam next week Wednesday.
I still didn't hear what you say, Diane. 1 minute.
And you'll be there in the classroom with us next week Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am, I'm coming.
Excellent, excellent. Okay.
So to make them nervous.
Don't worry.
At least the part of it, the start of it. Okay, good night. God bless. Yes. Enjoy your birthday, dear.
I mean, this one ready to go, you in birthday more, eh?
No,
thank you.
My son needed to be in bed.
Wait, yeah.
He Yes, he had swimming, so he might put him in, go far and get him in bed. And he I know that.
You gotta go. feed him.
Hi.
Studying information. I'm making sure we didn't have to worry about the register, because she, Alicia was in class too.
Oh,
You want to get it?
oh.
Where registered?
Okay, I'll snag it, don't worry about it. I'll do it. I know who was here tonight. I'll do it. She didn't bring it back.
That's just right on him.
They have half the class going.
I will fill it,
No, who was here?
I know who was there and what I will do, I will next week you'll try it. Okay? I'll bring it.
Right to me, who was give you the register to begin with?
I asked for it. She
I
forgot
asked
to
you.
Come back for it, come back with it. I thought normal though. Oh, Lord.
Everyone's having a long day.
Huh? Everyone having a long day. Yes, darling.
Let's go, we don't wanna leave you.
No, oh, you all are so kind, trying to find my kid.
So, this your laptop or this their laptop?
Yeah.
They're not.
Okay.
Let me pull this down.